Okay, this video is going to cover the 10.2 part 1 warm-up and the 10.2 part 2 notes. Make sure that you open up the warm-up and the notes in the same notes so that you can submit them at the end of class. If you'll pause the video and allow for students to complete the warm-up, give them about 5 minutes, and then hit pause again to play the rest of the video. All right, so let's go through the warm-up. Number 1 says to graph the ellipse. You want to make sure that it's in the standard form of an ellipse, which means that the 1 is on the right side, which it is. And then the center of the ellipse comes from the x and y, which here is -1 and +2. And then the a squared is the bigger number, so the a squared is 25, making a 5. And the b squared would be 16, making b 4. So -1, 2 is my center, and then because the a was under the x, I know to go out 5 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the b under the y, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I need to find my foci. So c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. C squared would equal 25 minus 16. C squared equals 9. So c is 3. So from my center along the major axis, which is the x-axis, I'm going to go to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and put my point, and left 1, 2, 3, and put my point. And those would be the foci, which are going to be at -4, 2, and +2. So I would also get that from, you're changing the x, so you're adding and subtracting the 3, that's the c from here. So -1 minus 3 is -4, and -1 plus 3 is +2. Okay, here's 2. Graph the ellipse. This time it's not equal to 1, so I'm going to divide all of my terms by 36. So I'd get x minus 2 squared over 36. 9 would be 4, so plus y squared over 4 equals 1. So my center is 2, 0. The a squared is again underneath the x, so I know my major axis is the horizontal axis. A squared is 36, which means a is 6. B squared is 4, which means b is 2. So for my center, which is 2, 0, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like off my graph just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then up 1, 2, and down 1, 2. And then the foci, c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So c squared equals 36 minus 4, c squared equals 32. So c would equal plus and minus the square root of 32. So before I simplify that, I'm going to pay attention to the fact that it's in between root 25 and root 36. So it'd be something like 5.8 or 5.6. So on my axis, I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit close to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And close to 6. And those would be where my foci are. And then to get the exact one, this is 16 and 2, so 4 root 2. And since I'm changing my x, I'm going to take my center, which is here, 2, and I'm going to add 4 root 2 to it. The 0 would stay, and then take 2 and subtract 4 root 2 from it, and the 0 would stay. and those are your foci. Okay, so here's the solutions to the homework from the 10.1 part, or 10.2, sorry, part 1. I know it's a little hard to read, but if you're able to watch the video later, or just pull up, we're at 5 minutes if you want to fast forward to it, you should be able to see these a little bit clearer. This is 3 through 9, and then this is 10 through 14. So again, I know it's probably hard to see from across the room, but if you open up the video on your own device, you should be able to see it a little bit better. All right, so we're going to talk about how to find the equations of these ellipses. So that's what 10.2 part 2 is. Here are some tips. So if they give you the foci or the vertices, you'll know those are always on the major axis, which will determine if the a squared goes under the x or the y. So if they gave me that the foci is on my horizontal line, then I know it goes under, the a squared is going to go under the x. And if they gave me the foci or the vertice under on the vertical axis, then I know that the a squared is going to go under the y. If they give me the length of the major axis, then I just divide it by 2 to get the a, and the length of the minor axis I would divide by 2 to get the b. If they give you the foci or the vertices, then the midpoint in between them is going to be your center. Don't forget that c squared equals a squared minus b squared. If they give you a point on the ellipse, then you can plug that in for x and y. And then your end result should be in the format of your standard form of an ellipse, which is x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1, or the reverse of that, where the a squared would be underneath the y. Just like when you're writing the equation with the parabolas, these are all a little bit different. So you've got to, in my opinion, draw yourself a picture so you get a visual of it, and then go from there. So it says find the equation of an ellipse with the following information. It's giving you the center is 0, 0. The foci is 0, 3, and 0, negative 3, and the major axis length is 8. So let's start with the center, 0, 0, and the foci 0, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 0, negative 3. So the fact that the foci is on the vertical axis is telling me that that's my major axis, and the a squared is going to go under the y. So it should be x squared over b squared, and then y squared over a squared. And then the major axis length being 8 means that 2 times a equals 8, so a is 4. So I already know this would be 16. So for my graph, I would go up 4 and down 4, and that's my a. So all I need is the b. Well, the distance between the center and the foci is c. So if that's 1, 2, 3, then I can do c squared equals a squared minus b squared. 3 squared would equal 4 squared minus b squared. 9, 16, and I'd get negative 7 equals negative b squared, and b squared equals 7. So now I know b squared. So since my center is 0, 0, my numerators are going to stay x and y. The b squared is 7, and the a squared is 16. And there's my equation. Okay, let's try another one. Example 2 says find the equation of the ellipse with the following information. So again, center is 0, 0. I'm going to start there. The foci is 2 and negative 2. And the vertices are 3 and negative 3. So the vertices are the distance from the 0 to the center to the vertices, which is 3. That's my a. So a squared is 9. And because that's on the x-axis, I know that the a squared is going underneath the x. Now the distance between the center and the foci is 2. That's c. So c squared equals a squared minus b squared. 2 squared would equal 3 squared minus b squared. 4 equals 9 minus b squared. Negative b squared equals negative 5. And b squared equals 5. So plug it in. X squared over a squared, which is 9, plus y squared over b squared, which is 5, equals 1. Okay, try example 3. So find the equation of the ellipse with the following information. Now it's giving you vertices and a point it passes through. So vertices 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5 tells me that my a is on the vertical axis. So a squared is going under the y this time. And the a squared, if a is 5, whoops, then a squared is 25. My center is half the distance between these two, so my center is 0, 0. And then they give me a point on my ellipse. So I'm going to plug this in for x and y. So 4 squared over b squared plus 2 squared over a squared, which is 25, equals 1. 4 squared is 16 over b squared plus 4 over 25 equals 1. I want to eventually get that b squared on the side by itself, so I'm going to move the 4 over. B squared, so I'd get 1 minus 4 over 25. 1 becomes 25 over 25. 16 over b squared equals 21 over 25. And then from here I can cross multiply. 16 times 25 equals 21 over b squared. So this is 400 equals 21b squared. Divide by 21. And b squared equals 400 over 21. Which can't be reduced. So I go back up. I know my a squared was 25, and it went under the y. So x squared over 400 over 21, which is b squared, plus y squared over 25 equals 1. Now I can't leave the fraction within the fraction. So dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. If I just flip this, I'd get 21x squared over 400 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. Don't worry, that was one of the harder ones. All right, so example 4 says, again, same thing, find the equation of the ellipse with the following information. It gives me that the vertices are 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, and 3, 1, 2, 3, negative 3. So this means that my center is halfway between them, which would be center would be 3, 0. And then the A is going to be 3. And since it's on the vertical, that means that the A is under the Y. And then it says the minor axis length is 2. So if the minor axis length is 2, 2B equals 2, then B is 1, which means I'm just going right and left here once. So if b is 1, then b squared is 2. Or sorry, b squared is 1. So it'd be x minus 3 squared over 1 plus y plus 0 or minus 0, which is still y squared, over a squared, which is 9. Example 5 starts the same way. Find the equation. So the foci are 0, 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. The major axis length is 8. So if the major axis length is 8, then 2a equals 8 and a equals 4. Halfway between the foci would be my center. And the a would be 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know my center is 2, 0. And I know it's along the x-axis, so the a is going under the x. I already know a is 4, so a squared has to subtract the 2, so x minus 2 squared would go over 4 squared, which is, 4 squared, which is 16. The y squared is going to stay the same because the y coordinate is 0. And now I've got to figure out what b is. So if I know the distance between the center and the foci is 2, that means c is 2. And then c squared equals a squared minus b squared. 2 squared equals 4 squared minus b squared. 4 equals 16 minus b squared. Negative 12 equals negative b squared. So b squared is 12. All right, last one. Find the equation of the ellipse with the following information. So this time, the foci is 0, 0. And 0, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this means that my major axis is the y-axis or the vertical axis, which means that the a squared is going under the y. If the major axis length is 16, then a is 8. A squared would be 64. And halfway between the foci would be the center, which is 0, 4. And then the distance between the center and the foci is 4, which is your c. So c squared equals a squared minus b squared. 4 squared would equal 8 squared minus b squared. 16 equals 64. Negative 48. And b squared is 48. So I can draw this. This would have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this would be a pretty tall ellipse. But I basically have all the information I need here. So the center is 0, 4, which means x squared is going to stay x squared. The b squared is 48. Y y coordinate of your center is 4, so y minus 4 squared over a squared 64 equals 1. All right, so that's it. Now take the remaining time of the class to work on the assignment, which is on Canvas. And that wraps the material that will be covered on your test, which we'll start the review for tomorrow.